In a cozy little cottage, deep in the heart of a forest, lived a poor widow with her 2 lovely daughters. Her cottage was a picture of simple charm, with 2 rose bush standing guard by the front door. One bore blossoms as pure and white as fresh snow, and the other roses as deep and red as a ruby. Because of this, her daughters were named Snow White and Rose Red, and they were as sweet and good as the roses they were named after. Snow White was the quieter of the 2, gentle and thoughtful. She loved to stay at home with her mother, helping with the housework, reading aloud when the work was done. Rose Red, on the other hand, was full of life and laughter. She loved nothing more than to run through the meadows, chasing butterflies and gathering wildflowers. Though different as night and day, the 2 sisters were inseparable. They held hands wherever they went, promising never to leave each other, a vow they shared with all the creatures of the forest. What one has, she must share with the other, they would say, and they lived by these words every single day. There, life was simple but filled with love and contentment. In the evenings, their mother would read from a great book while the girls spun wool by the firelight. Gentle lamb would awhite their feet, up cooing softly. Their little home was a haven of peace and harmony. One bitter winter evening, as a blizzard raged outside, there was a sudden knock at their door. "Quick, Rose Red," said their mother, "open the door." It must be a traveller seeking shelter from the storm. Rose Red unbolted the door, expecting to see a weary person, but instead a huge black bear poked its head inside. Rose Red shrieked and jumped back. Snow White hid behind her mother's bed, and even the little lamb and dove were startled. But the bear spoke with a deep, gentle voice. "Do not be afraid. I am half frozen and only wish to warm myself a little by your fire." Hearing his kind tone, their mother said, "Poor bear, come in and lie down by the hearth. Just be careful not to burn your thick coat." She called to her daughters, Snow White, Rose Red, "Come out. The bear will not harm you." "He means well." Hesitantly, at first, the girls came closer. Soon, their fear melted away. They brushed the snow from the bear's fur, and he stretched out contentedly by the warm fire. Before long, the sisters were playing with their new guest, tumbling over his back and tugging gently at his fur. The bear took it all in good stride, and if they were ever too rough, he would rumble, "Oh, children, spare my life!" "Snow White, Rose Red, will you not leave your wooer dead?" The bear became a regular visitor. Every evening he would come to the cottage, lie by the fire, and let the children play with him. He became a beloved member of their little family. But when the first signs of spring appeared, and the world turned green again, the bear told them he had to leave. "Where are you going, dear bear?" asked Snow White, her heart heavy with sadness. "I must go into the forest to guard my treasure from the wicked dwarfs," he explained. In the winter, when the ground is frozen solid, they are forced to stay underground. But now that the sun has thawed the earth, they come out to steal whatever they can find. The farewell was tearful. As the bear squeezed through the doorway, he caught his fur on the latch, tearing it slightly. For a fleeting moment, Snow White thought she saw a glimpse of gleaming gold beneath his dark coat, but it was gone so quickly she wasn't sure. Not long after, the sisters were in the forest gathering firewood when they came across a large, fallen tree. Near the trunk, something was jumping and twitching. As they got closer, they saw it was a dwarf with a long, white beard that was caught in a crack in the wood. He was pulling and struggling, his face red with rage. "Why are you just standing there?" He shrieked at them. "Can't you see I need help?" "What happened, little man?" asked Rose Red. "You stupid, nosy goose." The dwarf sputtered. "I was trying to split the tree to get some wood for my kitchen, but the wedge sprang out, and my beautiful beard got trapped. The girls tried with all their might to pull his beard free, but it was stuck fast. I will run and get help, said Rose Red. You idiots, the dwarf screamed, bringing more people. I've had enough of you two already. Can't you think of anything better? Don't worry, said Snow White. I have an idea. She pulled a small pair of scissors from her pocket and, with a quick snip, cut off the end of his beard. The dwarf was free, but instead of being grateful, he snatched a sack of gold hidden in the roots of the tree. Rude creatures, to cut a piece off my magnificent beard! He grumbled, and then disappeared into the woods without another word. A few weeks later, the sisters went fishing by a stream. They saw the same dwarf, this time in a different predicament. A huge fish had taken his bait, and the dwarf's beard was tangled in the fishing line. The fish was so strong it was pulling him into the water. "Help me!" he cried, hopping frantically on the bank. The girls rushed to his aid. Rose Red held him tight, while Snow White tried to untangle his beard from the line, but it was a hopeless knot. Once again, Snow White took out her scissors and snipped his beard, freeing him. The dwarf was furious. "Is that all you can do?" he yelled. "You not only cut my beard, but you've also ruined it. I can't be seen by my people now." He then grabbed a sack of pearls from the reeds and scurried away, cursing them under his breath. Their third encounter with the dwarf was even more dramatic. Their mother had sent them to town for supplies, and on their way through a rocky heath, they saw a massive eagle circling overhead. The eagle swooped down and seized the dwarf, trying to carry him away. The girls, hearing his terrified screams, ran and grabbed hold of the little man, pulling with all their strength until the eagle finally let go and flew away. As soon as he was safe, the dwarf, instead of thanking them, screeched, "Couldn't you have been more careful? You've torn my coat to shreds, you clumsy, good-for-nothing girls." He then picked up a bag filled with precious stones from a small cave and vanished behind a rock. The girls were used to his ingratitude by now and simply continued on their way. On their return journey, they stumbled upon the dwarf in a clearing. He had spread his jewels out on the ground, not expecting anyone to pass by so late. The gems glittered and shone in the evening sun, a breathtaking sight. As the girls stood there, mesmerized, a deep growl echoed through the clearing. A huge black bear came crashing out of the trees. The dwarf paled with terror. "Spare me, dear Mr. Bear," he pleaded. "I'll give you all my treasure. Look at these beautiful jewels. Just don't eat me. What good is a scrawny little fellow like me? Take these two wicked girls instead. They would be tender morsels for you." But the bear paid him no mind. With one powerful swipe of his paw, he struck the dwarf, who fell to the ground and did not move again. The girls were frightened and turned to run, but the bear called out to them in a familiar voice. "Snow White, Rose Red, do not be afraid. Wait for me." As they watched, the bearskin fell away, and standing before them was a handsome young man dressed in gold from head to toe. "I am a king's son," he explained, "and I was cursed by that wicked dwarf who stole my treasure. He turned me into a bear, forcing me to roam the forest until his own end would set me free. Now he has been punished, and I am myself again." Snow White was overjoyed, and her gentle heart had found its match. The prince asked her to be his wife, and she happily agreed. At the same time, the prince's brother arrived, and he was immediately captivated by Rose Red's cheerful spirit. He asked for her hand, and she too said yes. So, Snow White married the prince, and Rose Red married his brother. They shared the immense treasure the dwarf had stolen, and their mother came to live with them in the grand castle. She brought her two beloved, rose bush with her planting them outside her window, where they continue to bloom year after year. One with white, roses the other, with red a beautiful reminder of her 2 daughters and their extraordinary journey. Thank you so much for joining me for this wonderful story. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more classic fairy tales. We'll see you in the next video.